if you read Forbes or the Economic Times or something, they'll do these lovely articles of these, these people like, oh, so and so started this business and they did it on their own. And you're like, did you really? Because if you dig down, you find out actually their dad owned an emerald mine, or, their father was a C-level exec in a bank, or whatever the case may be. And they gave them $100,000 to start their business. And so it's like, okay, well, we have that. We have the support, the financial support that this person had, but we also had, they had these parents or these relatives that also had all of this social capital and social connection, which also, I mean, if we ignore that, that's like a huge thing. It's a huge
Mm.
source of wealth. I mean, when you're
It's as they say
connected,
now, to interrupt this, as they say now, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Right.
they've done, I mean, if you look at different classes, if you look at lower class, middle class, upper class, high net worth individuals are much more concerned about social connection. They don't care about what you do. They care about who you know. And they're collecting connections. I mean, that's why you go to an Ivy League school. That's why you go to whatever job place. It's why you go to whatever parties. It's why you join different organizations to build social connections, because that is kind of wealth. Even if you end up losing all of your money, if you have those high net worth connections, you can use those to your advantage. So this idea of being able to break through from one class to another, I mean, yeah, there are exceptions to that. Of course there are. And the middle class thrived on that. The middle class is really, their focus is always about achievement, because they're buying into the myth that, okay, if we focus on the talents and the skills, then we can get up to this upper class. But they're missing the point of, it's not about what you do, because that's only going to get you so far. If you want to get really far, you have to know people. And so they're wasting all this time building only skills rather than build. I mean, this is what, if I was going to play Go in the game of capitalism, what I would be focusing on is what the highest level of financial success is doing. And I would be doing that as opposed to playing with these other kinds of mindset. But that's not the only myth that's a problem. Like it's not this idea of like, oh, if you work hard, you're going to get whatever. Like a corollary to that is this idea that you are responsible for your success, that it's only you that's responsible for this, that it has nothing to do with these outside forces. And that's bullshit. I mean, the fact is that there's tons of forces that are at play. We're born into an economic time. We're born into a political context. We're born into a family that has certain kinds of connections and certain kinds of resources available to us. And we are not responsible for those things. Yes, we make choices about our individual actions, and we can make better choices or worse choices. And certainly we want to make as many good choices as possible. But the problem is that when you think that you're responsible for everything and you end up failing in a situation where the economic context sucks. I mean, if you are coming of age in 2008, for example, when there was that huge crash, and you come onto the labor market and you truly believe that you're responsible for your financial success at that time, you're going to be depressed AF. I mean, you're going to be a mental mess, because nobody was getting a job at that time. Nobody was getting a job from 2008 to 2010. It was the labor market, and the economic situation was an absolute dumpster fire. And this is what I mean when I talk about this idea of internalized capitalism. You think your value is tied to your productivity, about what you're doing. But what if you can't do that? What if you're not able to produce for one reason or another? Maybe you get sick. That happened to me 4 years ago. I got long COVID. Could do nothing. Do I have no value as a human being? Please.
Mm.
Not true. Or maybe, like I said, the economic situation, the political situation. You're in a war-torn country. Does that mean you have no value? Please, no, absolutely not. And that's where capitalism falters. Like, is there potential for like interesting things to happen when we with possibly making those connections, possibly like playing with the system? I mean, yeah, like you can have fun with any game, but this is having dire consequences across the world. and we have to wrestle with that.